Good evening, everyone, and those guys who are around and here to join us. It's Thursday night. It's DU Chats, and we're just waiting for Jerry to join up. Hopefully, he won't be too far away. So I'm just going to send him a request. There we go. So hopefully he'll pick this up in a moment. I know he's. You all. I don't know if you saw my post today. Absolute nightmare of a day today. Got that car in. Um, Cleaned it all up, got all the old paint, got the paint that the customer had put on there off, only to find that it had been painted before, and the previous repairer, before the customer repairing it, had done a bit of a body job, and the whole dog leg was rusted, so unable to do that one, so it kind of messed up the next 2 days, but that's okay, because we've got to get on with the bumpers and the motorbike parts. So just waiting for Jerry to join us. And then we can start the chat. Hopefully he should be on in a moment. He did just message me saying that he kind of got the time a little bit wrong. So he may not be able to talk for as long as we normally chat, but as long as we can sort of cover the core questions, that'd be great. I mean, I appreciate that the guys in the States, this is almost the middle of their day or early afternoon. Unable to join. Let me just try and send that again to him. So just... There's always a little bit of a delay here when we're getting people to join up. He is online, I can see that, so I'll just send that to him. Jerry, hopefully if you're there, you should see my request on the bottom of your screen if you tap the live. And then you can join in. I know he's on. There we go. He's just joined the live session, so hopefully you can see the little prompt at the bottom. Jagged World Masters joined. So can you see that, Jerry? At the bottom of your screen, you should see a little request, a little red icon saying join. I might send you another one. Bear with us, guys. Right, I'm gonna send you another one, Jerry. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Send request. Hopefully you can see that. Should be coming through to you. There we go. He's gonna. Hello. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, good. All right. So for everyone who's just joined, just let me let you know this is Jerry from Custom Edge and Customs. Sorry, Jagged Edge Customs, and it's 2 o'clock. He kind of got his time a little bit wrong, so he's still giving us some time here, and we're going to try and get as much covered in it until he says, right, I've got to go. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so if you want to give us a little bit of background about yourself and let us know how you got into the business and how long you've been doing it.
Sure. I started actually when I was 14 years old. My oldest brother, he's 10 years older than I am, and he bought a 1931 Ford Model A, and we restored it and made a street rod out of it. But I learned how to weld, how to do body work, and I really like the painting aspect of it. I've always been, artistic and love drawing, love painting. And then it went on from there. A few years later, he started a body shop, and I started off as a painter, and here I am.
So what is a street rod? Just educate me on that.
Okay, so normally, this particular car had like wood rims on it originally in 1931, and what people do is modify that car. So they put nice wheels and tires on it. They lower them. It had a 500 horsepower small block Chevrolet in it, and and then you just go on from there. It's basically an extension of your personality, so you can make it any way you want, but it's kind of like a street rod and a drag racing car. Okay. So they technically they call it a pro street, but that's what it was. And we ended up painting it Pink Panther PPG. So it looked like a large bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
How long did you have that for before you got rid of it?
Well, he had it for, I guess, about 5 years, and unfortunately, he wrecked it.
Oh,
So, yeah. But yeah, that was pretty disheartening. But I worked there for a few years and then moved on from there, and has worked at a couple shops throughout the area. So.
so do you work for yourself now, or do you work for someone else, or with other people?
No, I actually work at a body shop now. I had Jagged Edge Customs for a while, and 2000, I think it was 2012 or 2010. I had to let it go. Just times got tough. I was trying to give the artwork away just to make ends meet and, do motorcycles. I stuck with motorcycles and guitars because I had a studio space. So it wasn't a big enough shop to do cars and trucks.
Right.
So if I had anybody that wanted cars or trucks done with flames or just a regular paint job, I would just rent a booth from a friend of mine, and I would just do it. Sorry about that.
That's somebody saying, "Come on, get back into work."
Right. I was just trying to turn that off. But no, I did. I told my boss as soon as I got here, longtime friend, and he actually called me back here to this shop because it's a great opportunity, and he actually is the manager of the shop now, and we've actually known each other since 2007. He's from the West Coast, Seattle boy,
Right.
and then he moved out here, and he's been a technical rep for a jobber out here for, man, that was like 14 years, and he just stepped away and started managing the shop.
And so in the shop, are you doing all sorts of jobs, or are you primarily a painter?
Primarily a painter, but I do the custom stuff as it comes.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls me or anything like that, I just schedule it. Like the motorcycle that I did with all the artwork on it, the one with the dragons.
Yeah.
I actually used my uncle's shop because I just needed an air hose and a roof over my head. So that was a lot of airbrush work.
How do you come up with those designs? I mean, some of them are so intricate, and just airbrushing just absolutely fascinates me.
Right. Well, the scales on the whole entire job, that's just out of my head, just sketching it and looking for what I wanted to get down on paper. And then you take tracing paper, I trace it out on the paper, so I do one side at a time. So it's pretty much, it's not perfect, but it's really close. And you just flip the image over, trace it back on the other side, and then I just freehand all the sketching out on it, and then you build it from there. You just start from white, and then you add a little black, you go back in, add the white, you add some more black, and then you slowly see the job come to life.
And does a customer say, do you have a free rein on, so if they bring their bike tank into you or their guitar, do you have a free rein on what you put on it, or do you work to their requirements?
Yeah, sometimes they'll say, like, this is exactly how I want it done. And a lot of people do respect that when it comes to the art aspect. They'll come to me because they like my style.
Yeah.
So if I do a certain kind of flame or, a skull or, just whatever, and it goes from there. But sometimes it's hard to pick out of their brain what they want. I've actually had a guy that I did a guitar for one time, and I did the skull, and he wanted like some like electric looking blue fire, and that's just layers. And then he was like, "Oh, can you put some over here?" And I would, we were back and forth. I'm sending him pictures as I'm doing the job, and I was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that anymore." You can see it after it's cleared.
Yeah. Like, just trust me to do the job and do it well.
Right. And that's how the Dragon was this time. I actually did the original Harley Fat Boy for that same gentleman back in 2008, and it was a giveaway. So it was a local band that played all these shows, and once a year they did this real big show for this little girl to raise money for her. She used to have surgeries, so in order to pay for that, he got together with the mom and the daughter, and they would have like this huge rock show. I mean, there's like 15, 20 bands show up, and it was called Rock for Sarah. So we started doing that with one of the guys, and we told him, look, we're going to donate a paint job. So I donated a $5,000 paint job to the cause, and this guy won it. So he's like, I don't care what it is. He's like, I just want dragons and I want scales. So that one I just used the little, it's like a little loop of basically like fish or dragon scales. And I did that through the whole bike and then candied it red. And then I actually did the dragons over top of it.
Now that we've spoken about it, I'm going to go back and have a better look because I have a better understanding of the way you've done it now, just by your explanation.
Right.
Because you can look at something, but you don't necessarily understand all the work and the passion that goes into it.
Right. It's just like the same thing on that bike. That I mean, it might not look a lot to some people, but the fire that I did on both sides of that tank took me 14 hours of layers.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're doing white and then you candy it. So when you candy it, it kind of bleeds into the white. So in order to keep it, like, I guess you got to let it stay all the way at the top. You got to have it completely dry because the candies will migrate into the white. So you got to make sure it's completely dry. So like when I finally did it, I did the last final touches inside the booth, but I had 14 hours just in the fire.
Oh my gosh. That you can see why it's an expensive job to have done then.
Right. And that one, and that particular bike, it was, again, it's a repeat customer. He's a good friend. And, he got it for a steal. I mean, really, in the amount of time and hours, we're talking, $8,000 to $10,000 paint job.
Yeah. And was it about 5,000, you said? Was that the 5,000 one?
Yeah.
So that,
right.
An absolute steal. And what's your go-to airbrush? Is there an airbrush or a gun that you would use on that sort of thing? What?
Yeah. Well, I started off with an Iwata, and I've never looked back.
A really popular brand, the Iwata, for airbrushing.
Yeah. I took a college class right out of high school, and it was an illustration class. So it taught me a lot of technical aspects of it, just with using it's a clear piece of film called Frisket.
Right.
So you lay that down, and then you can sketch on that, and then you use a X-Acto knife and you just trim all that out, and then you peel that piece off, spray a little bit of color, and then you wait till it dries. You can put that piece back and you pull the next piece. So it gives you very crisp and just very nice lines. It's not like the Dragon. The Dragon was completely 100% freehand. And to get the detail in that, it takes layers.
And so what particular model of this Iwata would you, because that's always one of my questions I ask people is, what's your favorite gun or your favorite tool? So I'm guessing the Iwata is your favorite. Is there a particular model or?
Yeah, my original one is a HPSB,
right,
and that is a side feed. And that one is made, this is before they even had the microns. Now they're pretty expensive, so I haven't actually gotten a micron. I have a custom one, and I can't remember what the custom model name is, but that one's really neat. At the top of the airbrush, at the very bottom, you have your air inlet, so you can set your airbrush at 25 psi, but at the head of that, you can dial that in to really fine lines. I mean, you can physically draw a hair. And that I use that one a lot, but I use the SB on this one because it's just an old school airbrush. It's a workhorse, and it's just a very, very fine airbrush.
So when you say side bead, because I am actually unknowledgeable about any of these things. So when you
Okay,
say a side bead,
so
is
aside,
that where the paint comes into it? Is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a little cup about that tall. Kind
Okay.
of looks like just a drinking cup,
Yeah.
and then it has like a pipe on the side,
I know.
and
I've
it
seen it.
literally goes right into the side. And believe me, you got to be cautious. When I was younger, there was times that I didn't turn that down. If you're spraying like this, and you don't have it tilted right, and you're focused on that image, I've had it spill. I've had it where I sneezed and you just jerk your feet and you fling paint and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna airbrush something there because I just messed it up.
I,
So,
I guess something similar that can happen to us in the shop is if you put your PPS cup on and you've just not tightened it properly, or you've gone at the wrong
right,
angle, and there's just that one
right.
drip that lands on your perfect paint job,
Yes,
and you could
yes,
just see it sort of dragging down, but
right.
but you
And
can't touch
I
it.
will tell you, there is many of artists out there. There are times where you have a mess up and you're like, you think it's the end of the world, and then you're like, calm down, let me figure this out, and ends up being you do something else really cool in that picture.
Yeah.
So sometimes a mess up is a blessing.
Um, so what? That's your airbrush that you really like. What's your spray gun that you would be your go-to spray gun?
I have actually, a mixed batch. I have Sada, I have a couple Sada 5000s.
Hmm.
I'm spraying PPG water right now. So my go-to gun is a Techna. I have two. It's called the base coat model. It's actually blue, where most
Okay.
of the Technas are black.
Okay. And we
And
call those here. We're calling those the Vilbis GTIs, I believe.
yeah, yeah. It's this one is called a Pro Light,
Yeah, the GTI
and
Pro Light. Yeah.
right, and then the other one is the blue one. It said Ultimate Base Coat Gun is what the description was when I got them. So I have two of them, and then my go-to clear gun is an Iwata. I know
Okay.
a lot of guys.
Which one's that?
Yeah, a lot of guys will use the Sada, the new 5500. I've heard they spray nice, but I haven't had one in my hand. I've used the DeVilbiss DV1, the clear coat one. It's a nice gun. It sprays nice, but I still am looking for a little better of a finish, and I get that with the Iwata.
Yeah, the Iwata seems to be a really popular gun. What particular model have you got? Is that the SR WS400
Yeah,
or
it's the LS 400.
LS400? Okay,
Yeah, and
and
that's the 1.3.
1.3. And
Yeah.
that's again with PPG that you're spraying. Is that a PPG
Yes.
clear?
Clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, PPG clear. Yeah.
No, that's good. But I mean, the thing is, there are so many great guns out there, and we all see them, especially on social media. You see somebody's got this gun or that gun, and you think, and they're getting great jobs. But if you're getting a really good job out of the gun that you've got, it's unless it's broken, there's no need to change it, is
Right.
there?
Exactly. I like the LPH 400. That's still a very nice clear gun. I will use that on occasional things. I'll use it on motorcycles and stuff because it sprays such a fine mist of clear, and you're doing a lot of overlapping when you're doing motorcycles or guitars. So I keep the gun choked in because I know I'm putting multiple coats on. So you go in there wide open, it's going to be dripping on the floor.
I don't know that gun, but it just by the description of it sounds like a really big, sort of heavy gun, really.
What's that?
The LPH, the one that you just mentioned, the
Oh,
LPH
oh,
4.
no, it's smaller than the Supernova. It's
Ah,
actually smaller.
all right, okay. I'm going to
The
check that
frame
out.
wise.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. But it just
it's nice. And that's the original one with that air cap. It doesn't spray a conventional like V. It
right,
sprays a rosebud.
okay.
So when you clear it, that's actually a circle coming out of the face of it.
That's
So it's the technology of that tip, and that's it. Definitely lays the clear down very nice.
and what does your sort of typical day entail then? So right now, I'm guessing
Um,
you're in the car, just getting away from the noisy shop.
yeah. I'll turn it around. That's the shop.
Oh, it's huge.
Um, Yeah, it's almost as long as a football field.
Yeah.
So I get here at 7 in the morning, and then my day normally ends between 6 and 7, just depending on our workload. We do anywhere from 5 to 6 cars a day normally. If you got bumpers and stuff, and then you're looking, 7, 8 cars, because you can double them up, obviously.
Yeah.
But
That's a long,
yeah,
that's a good old day, isn't it? Almost, what's that,
yeah,
10 to 12 hours.
yes, sir, yes, sir. This is, and believe it or not, it's slow. Yeah, this shop normally has a two to two and a half week backlog,
Mm.
and it's steadily going. But here lately, we just been having everybody, if they come in for an estimate, we ask them to leave or bring the next day. So
I think it's all over the world, Jerry. I mean, at this time
yeah,
of the year, I'm normally running a 1.5 to 2 month lead time, and at the moment, I'm running around sort of 2 weeks. So that
right,
just shows you how quiet it is, just because of the current COVID situation, really.
right, correct. And you know what? I'm blessed that we're considered an essential worker out there, and I know a lot of blue collared workers out there that if we didn't have it, it'd be pretty bad. I mean, at one point, the shop I was at, they laid me off for about 3 to 4 weeks, and I had to get the unemployment. And by the time I went back to work, I had still haven't got the unemployment.
Right.
So thankfully we had money stashed away, and unfortunately credit cards.
I think, from what I see, and you just told me that there's a lot of people in that same situation. And
Absolutely.
I don't know anywhere that's got it right, so to speak,
Right.
without going into it too much and making everyone doom and gloom. I think it is a hard situation, and it's gonna be a really long wave to run. I mean, in the 20 years, I was talking to Adam today, the 20 years that I've been doing this job, I think this is probably one of my quietest Januaries ever.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely difficult times, but we got to persevere somehow, and
absolutely. Okay,
it,
back to
it
him.
is it,
Go on,
it
sorry.
is getting better. And just recently, our governor of our state just recently said they're going to open up everything, and just by opening up the schools, it's sad to say that, but the more people on the road, the more accidents there are, and unfortunately, that's just the way the world goes. But
Yeah,
um,
that's just
once
that's
once it opens up, we
or
should be rocking.
or snow.
Yes, yes, and we just had a little bit of that on Monday, and we've had a bunch of toe-ins from that. So it's a
Right.
little bit of snow, a little bit of ice.
I love the terminology toe-ins. That's brilliant. So, what's your favorite part of the job then?
Um, Honestly, I love the clear coating part,
Yeah.
and just because it's the end. You're getting down to that job being done. You go in there, you say your Hail Marys. You know, you just go in and you trust your skill. You go in there and it's repetitiveness, but you go in there and you get the job done. And I think I like that the most, is just knowing that you're going in there, you're clearing it, and giving it the best that you can give.
Yeah, and making sure that there's no bugs in the booth as you're about to.
Right.
I think I saw a couple of years ago. I saw someone posted they'd just put their clear on, and pretty sure I got this right. But there was a lizard that somehow got into their booth and across their clear. And
Oh wow.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's on here. I mean, I would have been so gutted to see this lizard just made its little trail across my paintwork.
Right, right. Well, my first experience with that is my actual first all over paint job was on it was a retired police officer's car,
Right.
and it was a old Ford four door, and he just wanted it white. So we did it was a PBG white single stage, and I painted it in my brother's garage, and this was at his house. So I'm all done, looks great, turn off the lights, come back the next morning, and a moth the size of your fist did a backstroke from one end of the roof to the other. So my brother came in and he looked at it and he goes, well, you're going to learn how to do your first blend. So resanded the roof down, painted the roof, and did blends on both quarters.
Do you know what? The thing with a moth and butterflies, etc., is they leave that powdery residue behind as well. So
Yes,
not only have you got
yes,
the swim marks, you've also got all the
yes.
powdery residue just to give you a double whammy.
Right. It looked like he was struggling, and next thing you know, he just blew apart. Basically ripped his own wings off.
I bet there's so many stories like this of stuff
Right,
and
right.
especially somewhere where it's probably a bit more exotic and you've got all sorts of, and I've just seen somebody said that they've seen that lizard post as well. So we'll have to try and dig it out and share it again.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
I'm just conscious of time. It's 25 minutes past. Are we still okay to chat?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. You just give me that when you need to get in there, just say, and we'll keep going. So if in your shop then, and this could probably account to your airbrushing as well. If you could have, if somebody came to you, this is a new question to ask. If someone came to you and they said, Jerry, you can have any piece of equipment you would like. What would you like? Is there something
If
you'd
I
say?
if you're asking me if any piece for me,
Yeah, if somebody said, Jerry, I'm going to give you name what you want and you can have it. What would it be? What
see,
would be like an absolutely awesome piece of kit to have in your shop or in your sort of airbrushing skills?
um, I if I was going to say anything, um, I can't even think of the name of the air unit. Coast Airbrush from California has it's like a studio air compressor, and then it's all in one. So it has the air compressor, but above it, it has like a toolbox,
Right?
and it has several shelves, and then it has a handle, but it's all in one unit.
Wow.
Maybe it's Silent Air. I think it's called Silent Air.
Right.
It's the name of the company, and they're pretty expensive. It's over $1,000.
So in the
But
toolbox on
that
top,
would be
sorry.
yeah, that would be it for me because it's a one piece unit, and like I said, it's called Silent Air. It's very quiet, and it has its own refrigerant system all in one.
Oh,
So
really? So
yeah,
you've got the compressor, you've got the dryer, which you're calling a refrigerator. So that's taking all the
absolutely
moisture out of the air that's coming out into your airbrush. And then on top
right.
you've got a toolbox. When you say a toolbox, is that for keeping your paints and your little
Yeah,
airbrushes?
yeah. Your paint, your airbrush. Yeah,
I'm going to Google it after this and have a
yeah,
look.
yeah.
You
And,
need,
and I'm sure it's like anything else. There's several places out there that carry it,
yeah.
but one of the biggest places, even though I'm on the East Coast, the biggest place is Coast Airbrush. And one of the cool things, I don't know if you're familiar with Craig Frazier,
No.
but he was an innovator with House of Colors and
Okay.
doing a lot of
I've heard House of
lot
Colors.
of custom painting and stuff. And he actually got with John Kosmowski from House of Color and was able to get them to split all their colors. So you can buy a 2-ounce bottle. And actually I had to do that. I ordered a pint of this. It's called True Blue Pearl. It's a really, really pretty blue.
Right.
And because it's coming from California and I ordered it next day, they can't send it in a pint. So they sent me, it was like, 10 2-ounce bottles. So they had to send it to me like that in order to do the color.
And then which one did you use that one on?
I think it was a guitar.
The guitar.
It was a guitar that I had to do.
How long does the guitar
And
take you to do, or does it depend on the design?
yeah, it depends on the design. If it's just flames and stuff, start to finish, you're talking, 3 to 4 days
Right.
with sanding it down and re-clearing it and then buffing it, so it's flat. And I had an awesome opportunity for a few years, there was a gentleman that started his guitar place, and they were all hand built, and it was called October Guitars. And I got with him, and we started talking, and I just started doing a lot of guitars, and it's right when Jagged Edge started. So my turnaround was obviously really well because that was my bread and butter.
Yeah.
So I did nothing but motorcycles and guitars, but I did one for him not too long ago, and he wanted. I did one with flake, and then it had a blend of red into yellow flames, and it's actually on the beginning of my Instagram page, so it's one of the earlier pictures. But I did this flame job for him, and then a few months go by, and then he's like, "Hey, I got another guitar." So this one he actually wanted the true fire. So that's the flames that look like actual fire.
Right, right.
And it's a lot of layers and a lot of candy. But the end result, it gives you so much depth. You click it, that spotlight hits it, it literally looks like the guitar's on fire.
Sounds amazing. So what an
Yeah.
impressive skill. So how many do you do a year? On average, on average.
Yeah, well, back then I did quite a few. I would say at least two to three a month when we were really busy.
Yeah.
And then it slowed up, and then once I had to go back to work, and I couldn't work on it all the time, it would take me 3 months to do one. Because just working at it here and there. But so that's part of what happened. It's just the economy. It got so bad back in 2008 to 2010. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to let it go. So I mainly do it on the side. And I just recently I've been doing a lot of digital. So I've been working with an iPad, and there's a program on there called Procreate.
Right.
And it's an awesome tool. It's so fun to use. And just like if I'm doing a motorcycle tank, I can draw one side, and then you can just lasso this, flip it over, turn it upside down, and it's done within seconds. I don't have to draw the other side.
So what, you just do it on there, print it off, and then that's your sketch for the bike? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah, I can do it. Yep, I can do it that way instead of using pen and paper. It's basically same thing. And that was well worth it. The Apple Pen that goes with it.
Yeah.
It works like a paintbrush if you want it to. So if you go real light, it'll go real light. If you push on it hard, it'll draw a nice thick line.
Someone, the paint breed there, 96, says he loves the Procreate.
Yeah.
I've just started following him actually. He's sort of popped up, and he's an interesting bloke. Hello to you, paint breed. So, what project are you most proud of? Is it the Dragon one, or is there some others that we don't know about?
Yeah, recently I would say it's that. I also have one and that I was pretty proud of. It's in the beginning of my page, and it's actually a picture of a Rottweiler dog. Mm-hmm. And it was friends of ours. Their dog had passed away from cancer, and so their son and daughter contacted me and asked me to do it for their parents without them knowing. So they snuck me a picture of the dog. Her name was Lila, and they snuck me a picture of the dog, and I was able to airbrush it and give it to them. So that's probably one of the most memorable pieces.
Jerry, can I just say, you are such a nice guy. Honestly,
thank you.
You just listening to you talk, you just sound like such a nice guy.
Well, don't let that fool you. I'm crazy as hell. So
yeah, well, we can do with that. That's fine. I meet so many really nice people on here, and it just humbles me. So I'm enjoying this chat.
Right.
So we got a little question here from somebody. Let me just see what they've asked here.
Sure.
Oh, he says here, you might understand this better than me. Who's used a Binks Model 7?
I have.
Uh-huh. What is
Yeah,
that?
it was just, I mean, I was 14, 15 years old, but the Model 7, it's an old Banks cup gun.
Right.
So that was one of the first guns I actually sprayed.
I think is Binks not part of? I think it's part of the DeVilbiss group, isn't it? Binks.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's where I've probably seen it then. Is it more sort of like industrial or larger shops would use it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just depends on. I mean, back then it was before there was any gravity feed gun,
Yeah.
you know. And actually, Iwata had the cup guns. They were pressurized, so you could turn that gun upside down and spray.
Right. Okay. And there was no loss of product at all.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Oh. I've never actually used a suction fed. Everything has always been up on the top.
Right.
In my
Sorry,
job.
one's a knife.
Right. So I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to, whether you even have the time to do this because of what you've told us. But in your downtime, what do you like to do? Do you ever have any downtime?
Yeah, I do actually. You know, on the weekends I don't have to work. There are times where I choose to. You know, it just makes my life easier the next week. But I love just spending time with my family. We go on hikes. Um, I know you've seen it, the post we do on my storyboards and stuff like that. We're very blessed that we have a 30. It's about 32 to 35 mile state park
Right.
that runs in the valley of Maryland, and actually that's one of my goals this summer is I'm trying to get my 13-year-old son and some of our friends. We're going to do the hike, and I mean, if you hike it by yourself, you obviously can do it a lot faster. But doing it with 5 to 6 boys, it's going to take 2 days.
Yeah, but
But,
how awesome will that be? Because what you do, you just camp out there and you carry everything on your
right.
back, or will you?
Yep. That's what we would do. Is I thought about it just to see. We'll do some of it. Maybe do the first time, just go as far as we can, spend the night, and then walk out from there.
Right.
But there's some spots where you got to cross the road or you go under a bridge. But I was thinking about just getting it's a hammock. It just goes
Oh
in
yeah.
from tree to tree. You can just bolt that, wrap it around the tree. It just chains up, or a cable.
And they come
And
in small little bags now.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
just mix enough
and
in.
it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cheap. It's not that they're very cheap as far as the price goes. I thought for sure for something like that, anything that you buy from the local place around here, it's called REI. It's expensive, but it's good stuff. It lasts years.
So when are we doing this?
Hopefully this summer.
I'll be there. You give me the date.
That would be awesome. I keep telling TJ from Island
Oh yeah, Todd.
Custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I keep telling him I'm coming out there, man. He keeps showing all those waves. Man, it's gorgeous. Like, there are days where I wait for his video to pop up so I can enjoy it. It helps calm my day down.
I know he just teases us with it all the time, doesn't he?
Right, he does. He
Yeah.
does.
But maybe if you live in paradise, you don't really recognize it so much.
Right.
In fact,
No, I know.
go on.
What's that?
No, I was going to say, I've got to actually call him back onto the show because unfortunately I lost the recording I did with him a couple of weeks ago. So we need to call him
Right.
back on
I saw that, and
Yeah.
I was really upset with myself because I didn't set a time for it and I missed it.
I know. I think everyone was gutted, and he's he's a top bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. We we hit it off because the shop I was working at was Axel Nobel, and it was before, it's, again, I'm 48 years old, so all the hashtags and stuff I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
So once I started doing the ones with Axel Nobel, we both became friends, but we each have each other's number, and we actually talk, quite often. And he's a stand-up guy, and I definitely told him it. When the time presents itself, we're definitely going out there.
Yeah, well, everyone's saying it. Even paint breeders saying everyone's sort of, let's head to Hawaii and invade the place and have a massive party.
Right. Yeah, I see that. That would be that would be phenomenal. I always thought about that. It's like, getting everybody to a central location and just have a big party.
We would have so much to talk about. It would be amazing.
Right. It would definitely have to be a few days long.
Oh yeah,
You'd have
sure.
to make your rounds.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or your camping trip is quite a good idea. I've got a question here
Right.
from Andy23Y. Hi Jerry, you got any more YouTube videos you'd recommend?
For
I'm not quite sure what he is watching. So Andy, if you just send us a quick message just to say what sort of videos you were suggesting that he should recommend. So we're now at 22. Are you still okay? Hang on a bit, or did you need to head back?
how long's it been?
It's
Did you
40
say?
minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah, unfortunately I'm going to have
Okay. One last question
to
then, before you go, Jerry. One
Sure.
last question. This is my favorite question. Okay. Do you have a tip that you can share with us? If
A
there was,
tip.
yeah, like a tip that you would, Jerry's tip for people out there.
Well, I honestly, it pretty much goes with anything. It's, even outside of this industry. I would say you have to slow down to speed up.
Everybody
They
says that. Yeah.
the young kids, the young generation, just sometimes, I get it. You can go 100 miles an hour. But that doesn't get it done.
No.
There's times where you need to slow down to speed up, and that it just goes with everything. You get in there and rush it, and you feel like you don't have enough time to do it right. And then you look at yourself and you're like, well, when are you going to find time to do it over?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
Right. So it's just slow down, take a breather, even walk away, save it for the next day, come back. I had to do that with the Dragon bike. I actually was talking to I think it was Air Effects. It's a gentleman from he's just south of us in Virginia,
Right.
and I just told him that the image was fighting me, and I had to walk away for a few hours. I just walked down I did it at my uncle's property. He has a garage. So I walked down the hill and walked around and helped him for a little while, and then went back to it, and then it started flowing. But there are times where you sit down and it's like you're making a mess of things. It would be better to just walk away. Sometimes you can push through it, but definitely, just slow down and you actually go faster.
Yeah, Cinder just said, she's somebody I follow. She just says as well. She's from Tunisia, actually. She says people who walk slowly go so far. So that's true, isn't it? If you take it easy.
Right, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
it's not a race,
Okay. Oh, I know. He's talking about conspiracy theories, Andy. We'll touch that on another day because I
Oh
know.
yeah,
Yeah, I know you've got to get back to work. So I'm going to let
right,
you
right.
go.
Yeah, no, I share some of that.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we need another 45 minutes alone on that another time.
Definitely. I'm especially if you catch me. We can do a Saturday or Sunday if that fits in your schedule. Then I don't need to set a time. We can definitely talk for a while.
Okay. Well, you just never know what's going to happen. So maybe we can try and do that and just have like a catch-up one. I'm absolutely sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. We've just lost you. We're kind of losing your image, but I'm gonna sign you off now, Jerry. And thank you so much. It was lovely to talk. Oh, I've got you again. It was lovely to talk to you and meet you.
Yeah, great. And I thank you again for the invite. It was awesome. I was definitely glad to be a part of it.
Oh, you made it. You absolutely made the evening.
Awesome.
Have a lovely day and keep those projects posted, yeah?
All right, I sure will, man. You guys take care.
All the best, Jerry. Bye.
All right, bye.
Wow, what a top bloke, hey? Really, really enjoyed that one. You know, just the last, well, all those shows that I've done so far have just we just met so many really nice people, interesting stories, and it seems to me that there's, especially over the last few people that we've chatted to, there seems to be a common theme here where it's slow down. Don't rush that job. If you're not having a good, if it's not going right, take a step back and then readdress it again. So yeah, that's it. It's another night over. Next month I have a super lineup and someone really interesting lined up for the surprise Tuesday. So thanks to everyone for tuning in and have a good evening and have a great weekend. All the best. Bye bye.